There are no shortages of locally owned restaurants in Louisville. But here's a restaurant that works to get the ingredients for your meal within a 100-mile radius. Open a little more than 2 years, Harvest is really like bringing the farmer's market right to your table.
We like to think Harvest is exciting and different because we have really taken the farm to table idea to a high level.
So our goal is to do 80% local, and by local we mean from within 100 miles of the city of Louisville.
We won't serve a main dish, and rarely a side dish whose main ingredients are from somewhere else. So we're super local all the time, all year round, regardless of season.
It's like having a farmer's market come to our back door almost, so it's a great advantage for sure. A lot of times the farmers will call us and say, I just harvested, I didn't think I was going to have some, spinach or whatever it is, and so then it makes me think, oh, I'll need to use that, so then it pushes me to think like that. So definitely adds a challenge that we like, to try to meet. You have to think when you're doing recipes or doing dishes, you have to kind of think differently because you get used to using maybe lemon juice when you need something bright, so you have to think of it in a different way, and it's pushed us to think outside our normal boundaries, so it's been a good challenge.
We're located at 624 East Market in Louisville, Kentucky. I think it fits in a couple different ways. Louisville's been trying to revitalize their downtown for a lot of years, and I think Harvest is doing a good job of trying to revitalize local food, trying to get back to, sometimes I call it peasant food, foods that aren't normally used or generated in restaurants. It was a restaurant before, so it didn't take much, mostly just kind of cosmetic things. We pushed the wall back a little bit to make the dining room a bit bigger. We tried to repurpose a lot of items. We collected some old church pews from a church that was going out of business or trying to reconfigure themselves, and used that as banquettes along the wall. We also used the church pew as the bar top. So it's a very funny story to think that people are having a cocktail or a libation on the top of an old Baptist church pew.
I've been a farmer for 17 years. And before that, even I worked on farms growing up as a kid in the summertime, actually in New Hampshire. So I picked up hay and shoveled out barns and collected eggs and fed chickens. So I never really shook it, but it took me a whole lot of post-secondary education to figure out that farming was really what I wanted to do. Every week call here and say, Kobe, what do you want? I've got this, this, and this. And it's fun because it's a negotiation of sorts. We talk about what's coming and, what else we might be able to do. And as best as possible, I try to offer what we're able to grow, most efficiently.
The map represents our food shed. So from within that 100-mile radius that we try and get our stores from, we're trying to represent the farmers within that map. So to the left of the map are kind of pictures and bios of the farmers that we buy from, or some of them. And within that map, there's a push pin that represents where their farm is. So people can kind of get an idea of where their food comes from, a physical representation of that.
We loved when the pictures went up for a couple reasons. We thought that the idea really of making heroes out of farmers was a great idea, and it had come too late. It should have been done a long time ago. And the guy who was the photographer actually was a farm apprentice of mine. So he had a great time and made us all look good, which was a blessing.
The menu can change some. The bones of the restaurant have remained the same for the most part. So the proteins have stayed the same. It's just kind of what's on the side have changed up depending on what the kitchen can get in. So chicken's always been there, beef's always been there. How they're prepared can be a little different, but it's mostly kind of what's on the side that changes quite often.
Like right now, we're just now starting to get asparagus and strawberries, so it's this brand new life that's coming back to the kitchen. So for us, it's little spurts. Tomatoes are definitely a favorite. among myself and everybody else, but it just depends on what we're craving, really. We definitely have the luxury of all of our relationships with all of our farmers and even, cheese makers, vinegar makers, these artisans that really put blood, sweat, and tears into their product. And so then they pass it to us, and, we try to, minimally manipulate it. We don't really like to add lots of extra stuff. Keep it very simple, very clean, straightforward. And then hopefully, it's a quick process for all of that. So hopefully what the customer's getting is a good example as to what they could have if they went to a farmer's market and bought some of these ingredients.
For me, what's exciting about the restaurant is the opportunity to raise the visibility of the local food movement. And I feel like we've done that in spades. They really get to know their farmers personally and, how long it takes to bunch 200 bunches of beets or 200 bunches of radishes, and thereby appreciate on all kinds of levels what the work is like.
Harvest has received lots of national attention over the past couple of years. Mentions in Chicago and New York publications, plus the Diner's Choice Award from OpenTable.com.